heard a female physical therapy student recently say to me that she couldn't work in sport because she's a girl. My first response was, "You have to look up Sue Falsone." But I'm interested to hear your views on this statement, or perhaps if it is a wider issue. Were there any barriers for you when you initially started working in sport?
There were barriers, but honestly, I didn't think about them. And it breaks my heart when I hear young women say that, when they say things like that, like, oh, I can't, work in professional sport because I'm a girl. Because there's so many teams and so many organizations that absolutely will give you the opportunity. They just want the best person. And I think like with the athletes, they certainly don't care. They just want somebody who can help them perform better and to feel better. And so, I would say, yeah, there were definitely some barriers, but um, I tried to I tried to just focus on the opportunities that I was being given and being ready to execute upon those opportunities. And so, yeah, I never really kind of focused on those barriers. I'm sure they certainly were there, and I think they still are there. But there's plenty of organizations that'll give you an opportunity.
And how would you advise a girl who, like the one I've mentioned, who, and I'm sure she's not alone, how would you advise them on sort of, I guess, starting their career in sport and getting their foot in the door somewhere?
Yeah, I think that, internships are a great way to get an organization to have the opportunity to see who you are, what you're about, the kind of work you do, how you hold yourself as a professional. And then, internships are really just 2, 3, or 4 month long interviews, really, right? So it's just a great way for whether you're a male or female, to get an organization if you want to get into professional sport, to get them to know you. And so there's a lot of great formal internship programs that I know we have in our different leagues, and I'm sure it's the same pretty much everywhere. That if you can apply and get one of those internships, that's usually a really, really great way to go. The other thing I always tell people is to get themselves to conferences where people are speaking in the league that they want to work at. So like for baseball, there's a conference every year that most of the baseball athletic trainers will go to, to make sure you get to that conference and you meet as many people as possible. Or, same thing for American football or whatever, same thing for soccer. So I always tell people, like, get to those conferences where the people who are working in the league are, that you want to be in, and make it not about the name. Like, the more people can get to know who you are as a human and who you are as a professional, when that opportunity comes up, they'll be like, oh yeah, remember we met that person, and here's his or her resume. But the more personal you can make it, the better, because these people are getting inundated with resumes and people who want opportunities all the time. So if there's something you can do that makes you stand out as a human, and as a professional, that's usually my advice to people.
And I guess from what it sounds like that applies to both genders. It's just your own personal approach, and you get these opportunities on personal merit.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think, I know there's plenty of organizations who are apprehensive to hire a woman for whatever reason. And I'm sure that there's opportunities and things that I didn't get because I was a woman. And, I just choose to not reflect on those. I don't choose to give those things the energy, and choose to focus more on the opportunities that I was allotted and was given, and made sure I was prepared for those. Because there are plenty of organizations that really just don't care what your gender are. They want the best person for the job. And so to try to focus on those positives and not to get too discouraged if for some reason you get the feeling, or, you don't get something and you think it's because of your gender. Yeah, I'm not saying, kind of let things happen that shouldn't happen. Right. But I tend to just focus on those opportunities that I have. And there's plenty of organizations that will give you that opportunity.
Yeah, so people should still go for it.
Yeah, go for it. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you're going to get rejections no matter what gender you are. I mean,
Yeah.
Working in professional sport is really difficult. There's not that many teams, depending on what league you're in. There's under 30 teams. So really, there's only 60 jobs in the entire, in the US at least. Maybe there's only 60 jobs in the entire league. So it's like, forget about even just your gender. Like those are just difficult jobs to get because a lot of times when people get those jobs, they don't leave them very often. So, I think those jobs are difficult to get for both men and women, just because there's not a lot of them. And so, to really just focus on the things that you can control and being a great professional, being really good at what you do, having wonderful interpersonal skills, caring about the patient, which is what it's all about, and just really focusing on those things, the right opportunity is going to come along, no matter what gender you are.